evening, Cubits of the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me tonight, special co-host, one of the best guys on YouTube, and just a great guy and friend. We have Anachronic Comics. Joe, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great because down in Florida, and it's been really cold here. I think it was only 69 degrees this morning. I mean, I had to put a sweater on when I went out. It was really terrible. I don't know what the hell's going on, but the day before was nice. It was 77 and sunny, so it was really nice. So
see, we're 22 degrees here, but when you check the weather, it says feels like 9 degrees. All right, just tell me it's 9 degrees then. I know I was cold for a reason. And of course, our guest of the hour, you've seen him on our show tons of times. He's a great guy. You've seen him on Joe's channel a lot. We have none other than Mr. Mark Andrews. Good evening, Mark. How you doing, sir?
I am well. Good evening. Good evening.
And how's weather in your neck of the woods?
It's only minus 11 Celsius, and I had to shovel the driveway twice today because of the snow. I feel horrible for you, Joe.
I feel so bad for you.
It's cold, huh? I will have a nicer suntan than you from the snow being the sun glaring
reflecting off the snow. Yeah,
but,
got it.
Glacial tan.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, I had to drive a long way to get down here, so I think I should reap some benefits from it.
Well, yeah. 16 hours for me. I haven't done it in a long time. That's a story for another day.
Okay.
Now, Mark, you're here to do a second LP show. So your first one was a lot of fun. Your game board one. You always have interesting stuff. We always joke that you have a third of Canada storing your stuff, but you do have an awesome collection. Can't be denied. So really looking forward to seeing what you bring in tonight. Let's go say hi to the chat real quick, and then we'll come right back to you. And you can tell from my voice I've had a busy day.
Yes.
First in, Las Cruces. Good evening, sir. Great to see you, buddy. You always know you're gonna have a good show when you see Las Cruces in the chat. We have one of my all-time favorite people, Jerry the Jitterbug. Good evening, sir. We have another great supporter, Miss Christina Payne. Good evening, Christina. Great to see you. Mark saying hello to everybody. We have Mr. Chuck Hensey. Good evening, Chuck. Great to see you, buddy. We have Paul from Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, Paul. Great to see you. Brad. Wonder how many times he had to shovel his driveway today. How you doing, Brad?
Brad has to shovel his driveway in the summertime.
Yes.
Right. We have Circumstances. Marcus here. Good evening, Marcus. And of course, it's Tuesday, so we can't say anything but after this show, go check out FOC and Chill with Circumstances. Who is Marcus? Go check him out. Guys, it's been a long day. I'm going to word speak, bumble all over myself tonight. It just is what it is. It was a long day. Go check out Marcus on the Circumstances channel at FOC and Chill after this show. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, exactly. Up here in the north, you do see snow every month for some reason. But Mark, you know how I'll do it. I'll just keep giving everyone a tip of the hat as the notifications come in. But for now, let's start. Let's make you big. And
very, very tall. So I mean, how much bigger can you get?
There we go. And you have the two short guys small over here, so that'll work.
I think that little gag impacted you more than I meant to, Joe.
Well, because I almost was scared shitless when I turned around and I was staring at your belly button.
So yeah, guys, right now we're actually proportionate size to Mark.
Yes.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. So,
yes,
what do you want to do, Gary?
The stage is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, in honor, because Chuck Kenzie requested it, I noticed in the chat we're going to start off way back.
Ooh, records.
But this really isn't part of the show. It's just because Chuck was being a smart ass in the chat and figured this is how I was going to start. So, you know, I could go upstairs and get my player, but Chuck, just for you, You Made Me Love You is the name of this.
Well, Chuck also said that I probably saw all of these groups live, you know. So.
And yes. So anyway, so I know that the formula is usually I do 10 and then I do a story and I do a spec. I'm going to try to do that within reason, but I've got a series of records that from my collection. And just because I want to honor Joe and show him the respect that he wants,
As you should.
because he is a DC guy. The first one I'm going to show, the first record relates to this gentleman.
Nice.
Facsimile, Gary. Don't get all excited. This is just
Me excited about Superman? I think you got the wrong guy.
okay. Anyway, so this is just a facsimile. So he came out. There was all kinds of records about Superman, and this is one of them. This one came out in 1975, and I think Joe will recognize the artwork.
Yep.
Yeah, Neil Adams.
So that is now what's interesting, Joe. This is slightly, his head is tilted slightly different than on the comic.
Oh, and also his left leg is not twice as big as his right leg. Too.
Yeah, it's so I assume this was done as a second draft of the first. Anyway,
well, because he didn't have to put down Kryptonite no more over there and get his leg to straddle
exactly.
The thing.
So
that's probably the way he wanted to draw it to begin with.
And because on the records he was given a lot of free reign, which is really good. So this is Power Records. What's interesting, this is all narrative stories by voice actors. But in the story, particularly the alien creature story, Clark Kent is referred to as the anchor man.
Wow.
He's not a reporter. So he's the anchor man for the evening news. For Galaxy Communication, and they talk about Perry White as the editor of the Daily Planet, but Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are reporters for Galaxy Communications.
Yeah, that's when he stopped, when he moved over to be a TV anchor person.
Yeah.
I think it was during Burns' time, if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong on that.
So, and apparently Lois and Jimmy followed him there.
Of course.
Anyway, this one is kind of cool. It's got the 4 stories. They're all they're not bad stories. Does
it show them on the back at all, Mark?
Yep. It's great artwork on the back.
Look at that. Nice.
Now, one thing I like about these records, Mark, especially, I wish Power Records was still doing something in some way because they're such unique gems. But I always love the record art on the front and back. It's just it adds something. It's nice.
Well, there's a couple that I'm going to show you tonight, Gary, that I think will really kind of speak to that, because I chose them specifically, well, because of the genre, but I also chose them because of the artwork. So the next one I want to show, I don't have a comic for it, and I've done some research. There's comics that are kind of, they copy it, but they're not it. And this is one of the main characters.
Robbie the Robot.
Wow.
Okay, so this is the reissue of Polar Lights, Robbie the Robot. Originally, Aurora did this model. I haven't built this one yet. I've got 2 different scales. This one is going to get built. But what's kind of interesting is in it's interesting when this came out, because this came out in 1978.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic. Forbidden, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, the artwork on this is kind of why. So this is by
it's amazing.
A lady by the name of I'm going to say it wrong. Renate Drux. And I looked her up because of her artwork. She was inspired by tarot cards and she did a lot of artwork, but she never once worked in comic books that I can find anywhere.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's a real shame because the artwork on this is just phenomenal.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
It is. It captures the mood perfectly of that.
Oh,
show,
absolutely.
of that movie.
And the back of it, again, talks about the movie and talks about the characters. And I do love this movie because, again, Leslie Nielsen, good Canadian boy, starred in this.
Playing the straight man. It's so weird to go back after
I know
he did and see
the old ones. Yeah, he's a completely different character.
Completely different character when you know him from his later stuff.
Right.
When you watch this movie, you're expecting at any moment that he's going to cut a fart, but he doesn't. But the artwork on this album is awesome. Now, for any of you those that have watched The Forbidden Planet, the soundtrack of that is very electronic and it's kind of weird, and that's all this record is. This entire LP is the soundtrack, but it's that electronic music
Mm.
and sound effects, and it's would be something that you would put on probably if you were imbibing in something. Anyway.
Now I got to ask you a question about records here,
Yes.
which pertains to comics.
Yes.
Now we're all guilty of cover buys because of how good the art is. Do you have any records that are art buys that are basically cover buys because of the jacket art? That one for sure. Okay, that's what I figured. I wanted to ask.
This is definitely one that when I saw it and I saw the artwork and I loved the movie. Yeah.
And how good would that look on a wall?
It looks really good.
But Mark is lying because he said you would only listen to that if you were imbibing. So, Mark, we know why you bought that. Come on, don't tell me it was the artwork. Come on,
it was the artwork, Joe. Anyway.
Somebody was spending a little too much time in the evidence room, Joe. Mark's like, I'm not here for this shit.
Man. Okay.
Tough crowd. All right, number 3, Mark.
Number 3.
We'll let you off the hook, buddy.
I thought about, I'm going to show, I'm not going to show this one yet. I'm going to show this one first. So there was two TV series that came out, and one only lasted 1 year, one season, 1966 to 67. And it was a spin-off.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Girl from Uncle, Stephanie Powers as April Dancer. Sadly, the writing was horrible. The show, it was like...
The show really sucked.
Oh, it was bad.
And I was a big Man from Uncle fan, too.
Yeah, and same here. But the show was horrible. But believe it or not, they actually did come out with a Girl from Uncle album.
Oh, that's a great cover too with the picture.
It is a great cover, and actually, this one, when you talk about the music, this is the music on this is pretty good. Like, just it's not bad at all. So the guy who does the music on this is Teddy Rodonzo, and I don't know if anyone recognizes him. He wrote like "Going Out of My Head for You." It was on Ed Sullivan. He had
his real name is that's the Mark Andrews name. His real name is Teddy Randazzo.
Thank you, Joe. I knew that I had messed it up. Anyway, when you asked that question, Gary, about because of the art, the album cover or the music, right. So you can sample this on YouTube and go and listen to it. But it is also because I'm a Man from Uncle fan. You don't see these very often. And if you remember last time I was showing records, I showed you the Conan one that was clipped.
Yep.
So they also did this, and it's real. I don't know if you can see it. See this hole?
Yeah.
Okay. When you see that, or if you see the back corner clipped, if you see that hole, that means unsold stock.
Oh.
So for some reason, this didn't sell when they initially got it because nothing sold with that series. But if for like the soundtrack is actually not bad at all. It's kind of jazzy. Yeah. It's a decent. It's a decent. And they really tried to promote the show, right?
Yeah.
So it's a split open cover. Talks about the characters, talks about, they tried their best to sell the show, but.
I missed that too about physical media, how you would always have like a booklet with stuff and pamphlets and all this extra information included.
Yeah, there's all kinds of good information in the album, and it shares a bunch of stuff. And, just to be decent, I didn't want to give the Girl from Uncle, a bit of a, without doing, these guys.
Where she started.
Yeah. Ilya Kuryakin and Napoleon
Solo.
And Mr.
Oh, God, what was his name? Oh. Because I think of him as Topper.
Weatherby.
I think of him as Topper. Remember, he had a TV show, Topper.
Yeah, he had a different TV show. That show did much, much better. Now, what's interesting is this album is actually... And I don't have the first one yet. I'm still looking.
Oh.
But they did 2 albums for this show. They did this one. This is volume 2.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And again, this album, this is a good listening album. Like it's
Did it say Hugo Montanaro?
Yeah,
Was it
Hugo Montanaro. Yeah,
he's great. He was great.
He's awesome, and that's who did the music on this album.
Yeah, so the name. Yeah.
And this is a nice album to listen to. There's 5 different issues of this album.
Wow.
Like stereo, mono, this one's done in Canada, there's done in the States, and there's one done in the UK. So depending on if you want to be a completist.
Those damn variants, you know.
Now, do you just have the one, or do you have any of the variants?
No, I just have this one. And this, I was really happy with this one because, again, a lot of these albums, they got beat to death, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But the record is in nice shape, and the album is awesome. So it talks again about the Man from U.N.C.L.E., but again, it was good enough that they did 2.
Nice.
So someday I hope to find volume 1 of that. So
now, is it just why is it hard to find? Is it something that's worth something, or just they didn't print a lot of them?
They didn't print a lot of them. They didn't survive, and it like a lot of music. What's the nice way of saying it, Joe? Music aficionados.
Aficionados.
Yeah, those kind of folks. They didn't really look to collect those.
No. Yeah.
So a lot of them, they just didn't survive. Now it's interesting that the Girl from U.N.C.L.E. one goes anywhere from $40 to $50 US. Like,
yeah.
If you can find a good copy of it that's nice and clean, you're gonna have to pay. Now, again, as I had mentioned the last time I was on, snobs that's the term I was looking for, but I was trying to be polite, Chuck.
Now, Mark, if you're ever here in Rochester, we have music shops here called Record Archives, and another one on Titus Avenue here. You have records like that, like probably about 30,000 records in there or more.
Nice.
Just all over the place.
Yeah. And you can find them there. And if they're just pumping out records to sell records, and they're not trying to cause a lot of money.
Look in the comments. One Shot Comics says that he finds them at Goodwill.
Yeah,
I'm going down. There's 2 Goodwills there on Tamiami. I'm going there right now.
Like that's where I find them. I find them at Goodwill. I find them at secondhand stores. I find them at charity shops,
right?
Yard sales. You flip through the records, and they're saying like 50 cents a record. You flip through and you find. And so you go looking, because you could buy these online. But you're going to pay big coin for them, and you're going to pay big shipping because they're not easy to ship, right?
Right.
So they're out there. You just have to go looking for them.
Well, now I got something to keep my eye out for here locally for you. So
you mentioned about some of these are expensive, and some are. So I will show you one, because I talked about this one on the last show that I was looking for it, and I mentioned Leo Records from MGM.
Yeah.
And I said there's a couple that I've been keeping my eye out for, and it happened within like 2 weeks. I was in a hawk shop, like secondhand store, like a pawn store, pawn shop, and I'm flipping through the albums, and $19 Canadian.
Green Hornet, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There it is.
There it is.
Very nice.
I was with my nephew, the one that Joe thinks is 20 people. And I walked up to him, this in my hand, and he looked at me and he said, I think I want to go through all the games, because there's like 1,000 games. And I'm sitting there with this in my hands going, no, I'm going to pay and go. We got to go. We got to go. And he's going, oh no, I think we should stay. And I went, fine, because I'm in the car. I'm not going back in.
That's when his authoritative police voice comes out. No, we got to go, man.
We got to go. Because this is not a $20 record. Now, there's a couple of versions of this, believe it or not. There is the US version has on the back of the album cover is like the Green Hornet, the gun. There's the Black Beauty car. There's props from the show. This one is the Canadian version, which just advertise more MGM. But I didn't care.
Good bastards.
Yeah, but I didn't care because this was one of those bucket list items that I was looking for, and I couldn't believe it was there.
Now, that show was only on for one season, I think.
This was
wasn't it?
only one season.
Yeah.
One
Really,
season.
you hear so much about it. I just assumed it was on longer.
No,
one season.
One season only. It was on as long as Girl from Uncle.
Well, and what? In the Bionic Woman.
Yep.
Well, what happened, I think, Mark, wasn't it? Didn't it come out like almost in response to Batman 66?
Yeah.
And that was, Batman 66 had like a big push 2 nights a week. And then it was kind of on its way, starting to go down a little bit. And they said, hey, let's do Green Hornets.
Yeah. And they actually did a crossover between the two shows.
Yes. Didn't work.
And it's so weird how things
Green Hornet had
resonate.
no camp. It was all serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
I liked it.
Which is too bad because Green Hornet's been around since the pulp days.
Sure.
And, it's been around a long time. This one is again, this one's the official adventures, so it's actually you're listening to stories.
Oh, good.
Oh,
sadly,
wow.
It is not the actors from the show.
Most of those albums aren't, though, right?
Yeah, most of them.
Any of the ones I have, it's not the actual voice actors.
No, it's sadly it's not the voice actors who do that one. But again, that's one of those Leo the Lion records that's it have a great list and the stuff that you look for. So you had talked about the price of some of them. I'm going to show you one now that this is not the most expensive by any means album I have, but this is a pricey album. And again, this was at a flea market.
Oh, nice.
And it was not badly priced at all. So you guys are familiar with this character?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Again, notice, Joe. DC.
I did. Too bad Chris is not here.
I know. I want you to mention it to him when he starts to watch. But this album is the soundtrack to the movie Swamp Thing.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
So Adrienne Barbeau, very well.
Barbeau?
Yep.
She was very Barbeau.
She's definitely a favorite.
She was very Barbeau.
She was very Barbeau. And this is the soundtrack. So this is the music. It's okay.
Well, the movie is just campy fun. Like
the movie's campy fun. I mean,
like you watch it and you can't help but love it.
Yeah. So, but the cover, the album, the artwork on this is Richard Hescox. Do you know Monsters Unleashed, Gary?
I do.
So he did some of the covers for that.
Oh, okay.
So this is definitely and this is his work. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
What's nice and understated about that art is there's a depth to the swamp behind them. Like it just doesn't seem flat. There's depth to it.
Yeah. Well, there was some effort put into doing this work, and
of course, because Adrienne Barbeau is dressed in white, and everything else is darker. When you first look at that, you don't even know it's a Swamp Thing record. You look directly at Adrienne Barbeau because that's the way it's set up.
And I'm not really.
Yeah, I'm sure Joe's making eye contact.
Yeah, you make eye. Yeah, you're looking her in the eyes.
She's looking right at me.
I know she's looking right at you. Anyway, this is
no, honey. I was talking about you. No,
this.
Thank God she doesn't watch this stuff.
This is definitely a cover by, but it's also there's not a lot of these. This is a cool album to have, especially if you're a DC Swamp Thing fan. If you're an Adrienne Barbeau fan, this is one to keep an eye out for.
So Gary said that there's depth to it, and of course, figure drawing says yes. It definitely doesn't seem quote flat. And
no, it certainly is not.
Now I got to ask you, Mark, what's your favorite Adrienne Barbeau film?
Oh,
or Or do you only know Swamp Thing?
No, but probably Swamp Thing.
I think mine's The Fog. I love her in The Fog.
Yeah, but she like, look at, she's like carrying like she's hunting and stuff in this one.
There's nothing wrong with her in that movie. Trust, I know.
Anyway, there's nothing wrong. What number are we at, Gary? I've lost track.
We are number 6 now. Oh, and a little Adrian Barbeau fact. So John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know when he's playing that chess computer?
Yeah.
The voice is her.
Really?
Oh.
Yep. She's the
I did not
only
know
female
that.
presence in that film. She's the voice of the chess computer.
Well,
Was she his girlfriend or something?
Yeah, they it's really weird. So when they made The Fog, he had just divorced the girl and he was dating Adrian Barbeau.
Conveniently.
So the woman that he was making the movies with, like Halloween and stuff, she was helping him with that movie, but working with his now new girl. Well, she's the ex-girl.
that's complicated. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna
figure drawing.
I'm gonna get into closer to Joe's era.
Right.
With this next one.
That's 1235 AD,
Yeah.
I think.
So you guys remember this?
Johnny
yeah.
Quest. Love Johnny Quest.
One of the best intro songs of any cartoon ever.
Best intro song ever. Ever.
Man, did it get you pumped as soon as it started?
Absolutely. So they came out with this little album in 1965.
Oh, wow.
What, really? Look at that.
Johnny Quest and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. How that is, look at that art.
Isn't that
Everything
cool?
about that's amazing.
And the story's not bad either. Now, this is another album that it's dialogue and sound effects and stuff. It tells you the story about, Dr. Quest's deep sea probe, and a submarine goes down and they have to get to it before all the bad guys and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It's actually a good story. So this is HBR album records, and they came out with all kinds. So this is Hanna-Barbera's own record label.
Oh,
So if you look, can you see that there?
yeah.
Yeah. HBO.
Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. So
Original.
they came
That
out
company was
with
such a
the whole
moneymaker.
series
Yeah.
of
Oh, wow.
their own records.
That company, those people made so much money during that era. It's
Oh,
amazing.
they knew how to make money.
Yeah.
And Mark, you showed something Tina's never seen.
Yeah.
Really?
That she's never seen that album.
Well, should quit then.
Okay. All right, everybody. We see you later.
Yeah, see ya. I stumped Tina, so
Right? No getting better than that.
you can't get much better than that. So, what number are we on? 7?
7.
Okay, I might go a little bit over. I'm invoking the Travato clause.
I would expect nothing less.
Okay, so this next one is a cover by for sure, but it's also it's awesome. It tells a story and everything, and it's you may recognize this guy.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
sure.
Now you see the artwork on this, the King.
Yep.
Al Williamson did the artwork on this on most of the King comics for Flash Gordon. And then in 1966, Al
Wow,
Williamson.
what a cover that
Wow,
is.
I love that cover.
Isn't
Look at
that cool?
Yeah.
That's
Buster Crab.
Yep, that's Al Williamson.
He was my Flash Gordon boy.
Yep, and this, Joe, this is Buster Crab. These are the actual actors on this record.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
That's
So
excellent.
it's all of them reading the lines, going through it all, and it's pretty cool.
I used to watch the serial. They used to have it on
Yeah.
Saturday
Right,
mornings.
and one of the seasons of the serials, they had a different Dale Arden. It was like
That
the
I don't
original Dale
remember.
Arden, then another woman played her, and then I think they went back to the original again.
And then they came back to the original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So on the back of that, they just talk about some of the stories, and they talk. There's a little bio of Buster Crab on the back.
Nice.
Yeah,
He also
that's
played
isn't
Buck
that
Roger in the serials.
I
Isn't
love
that
that.
that is an awesome album cover. And again,
That
this
is
is those
fantastic.
Leo records.
When did that come out again?
This came out in 1966.
Okay, perfect.
The Decoys of Ming the Merciless and Flash Gordon and the Mole Machine are highlighted on this album.
Yeah.
And actually, they're not bad. Now, if you want to listen to them, you go online and you can listen to the stories as well. Or you can find this and put it on your record player and go from there.
Man, what they charge for record players nowadays is criminal too.
Oh my God, yeah. If you can find a really...
I still have 2 from the old days.
Yeah. Well, I had one that was just banging, and my oldest son has it at his apartment now.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, so what are we at now, Gary?
Number 8.
8. Perfect. All right, so because I have a lot, I just love these guys. I'm going to save that one to talk about. I'm going to do these 2. I love these guys so much that I need to show you this one. Again, this is another Leo album, and it's involving this guy.
Oh, wow. Really? Aquaman.
Wow. Amazing.
Have you ever seen this comic, Gary? This is...
I have not, ever.
Robot Chicken Aquaman.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Robot Chicken is so inappropriately funny.
Oh, I know. This is a DC Special Comics. But just so I don't get in trouble, I also pulled out of my collection an actual, serious Aquaman, because everybody makes fun of Aquaman, right? But he's not not by himself in this album. He's also with the Flash, and he is also with Green Lantern. Now, I just love this one because it's got Vincent Price on the cover. How can it say right?
Yep.
So this again is another Leo the record, because I love trying to find these records.
That's amazing. Wow.
So this tells the different adventures. There's official adventures of Aquaman, Green Lantern, and the Flash. They're all separate. Metro Golden Mayor. This one came out in 1967. And on the back of this one, so this is kind of gives you an idea of what I was talking about. So this is the American pressing of this, because the back of it doesn't have advertisement. It actually talks about the record. So, but again, this is a pretty cool album.
Were there any inserts in there? Sometimes the sleeve, when you pull out the sleeve, it's got other stuff on it.
Now, I was never an Aquaman hater. I always liked him. Him and Wonder Woman were my favorite super friends.
Well, I didn't mind him because I used to watch him on Super Friends, and I'd read about him. But he took a lot of heat because
a lot of people do that. I thought he was fine, but but in Super Friends they made him silly.
They did make him silly in Super Friends.
Well, they made everyone silly in the Super Friends.
Yeah, but it's stuck with Aquaman.
Yeah.
So the some of these do have like an inserted jacket. This one doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't found a Leo record yet that has, other than the white.
Just a plain white one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because that's all on the back here to probably save on printing.
Yeah, because I noticed all your Leo records are black and white on the back too.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think they invested a lot of money pumping these out.
They probably tried to make as much money as they could on those things.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. So I got 3 left, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just telling Paul he's got to watch it. He's never seen Swamp Thing.
Oh, you got to watch it.
You got to watch it, Paul.
Yep, you got to watch it. So there's kind of a little bit of stories with the next 3 of these. I do not have a comic or lead into this one because it is a comic itself. This came out in 1975. Written, illustrated, the whole 9 yards, all of it, by Neil Adams.
Oh, right.
Wow. I've never seen that.
So this is actually, the story is really good. I'm taking the album out because I'm going to hold this up. So this is the beginning of the story, right?
Oh my
Right.
goodness.
That's excellent.
Yeah, it is. And it's a really good story. Like, and it's all Neil Adams, like his writing, his artwork.
Tina needs one.
Yeah, Tina needs one. The back of the album cover is just awesome.
Oh, look at that. That's
Now-
great.
That must be a pricey one.
This one is gonna run you some money. Yes. But if you look for it and keep your eyes open, because a lot of people don't appreciate these.
That's true.
And
That's
they
true.
don't. And especially if you go to record stores, you go to secondhand stores, you do all that kind of stuff. Like, people don't appreciate these at all. But it is actually a really good story too. Like, I quite enjoyed it. I don't want to do any spoilers, but it's got the monster, like Dracula's pulling the strings, trying to do something with Dr. Frankenstein to get him to do something. And there's werewolves, as you can see. And like, it's not a long story, but it is actually a really, really good story. And it's
not bad. You can get it on eBay from $20 to $40.
well, that's
Really?
not bad. What's the shipping?
$5.38.
That's good.
That's really good. Now put yourself up here and try to ship it.
All right.
So I kind of lead into that with that one, because this is a Peter Pan record again, right? They came out with a lot of these. So the next one I'm going to show you. Oh, the other thing that I want to mention for anybody who's looking, if you're looking and you go, is this a new one? Is this an old one? Is this I'm going to go through that a little bit with the next record, but there's a website that's called discogs.com, discogs.com.
Okay.
It's got a great search engine. It's a lot of the records actually have a link so you can listen to, get some sampling. It's not just these kind of records, it's all records. And it is amazing. Like, it will tell you how many different versions. It gives you some ideas of pricing. It gives you like the history. So like, when I get one of these, I look it up on Discog and I get this printed out, right?
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and it goes in the back of the album, and then I know where, who did, and all those kind of things. Like, it's really a really, really good resource.
Now, Joe, I need you to have a special espresso mail call one day, but it's got to be themed when you have all your buddies on. And I need you to call it Mark Andrews Spent My Money.
I've written down three or four things already.
I think you got something there, Gary. Yeah, I think you do. So on that idea of the whole Discog and finding out and not getting taken, this one is kind of the story, right? And again, going back to a show that I loved.
Oh,
Great
nice.
show. Now, I like the Munsters better than the Addams Family.
Yeah, so did
was a
I,
big
actually.
Munsters fan.
The Munster, I always like the Munsters better than the Addams.
How can you not like Fred Gwynn over everybody? He's so
I
great.
know.
He's got such presence and charm and charisma.
He was so cool. So back, which is really interesting, Decca Records, right? So back in 1964,
Oh,
they
nice.
released this. Now, what's interesting, this is not the Munsters from the TV show singing. This is a group of people who call themselves the Munsters singing.
Oh.
They only released one album. This is them in costume.
Oh, wow.
Right? So
Yeah.
the reason that I'm going to talk about this one is because this album was re-released about 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, for the movie?
For the movie. And it looks almost exactly like this. So when you're looking, because you can spend a bit of money on these, right?
Right.
So when you're looking,
You don't want to get conned.
you don't want to get conned. So Joe talked about inserts. In the original, there was this advertising all the other Decca records at the time. So like Burt Kempfert and Danny Kaye and Ricky Nelson. Who else? I'm sure Joe's going, oh yeah, I have all those. Anyway, but when you go on that Discogs site, if you're looking for an album, they will talk to you about what should be on this.
Oh, okay.
Series of numbers. For example, this is the DL74588 side 1, and then there's another serial number. And in that website will give you all those serial numbers, and it will tell you what the record is. So if you have somebody who has this, which is the reprint, and they've got an old, because if you can make money, people will.
Sure.
Right.
If you have a recreated album cover, you can marry the new record into the old album cover. You can, but look, and then
so you don't know really what you're getting.
Exactly. Yeah. So if, because some of these can be like the original Monsters ones, some depending on the condition and stuff, you're looking sometimes $100 or so.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So if it was a $20 record, you take a shot and you bring it home, go, oh crap, I got hosed, or yeah, I got a good one or whatever. But also, and it's really hard to see, there is a number right here that is scratched into the vinyl.
Oh wow!
And
yeah, they used to have those all the time. Those numbers.
Yeah, and it's specific to this album and that jacket and this release. And again, you can find it in when you go online to look to see if this is the real deal.
Ways to authenticate it.
And you can authenticate your record.
Now, Mark, once again, it's Discogs, right? You said, could you spell it again?
DISCOGS.com.
That sounds like a great site to.
It is. It is a really, really good site. And it's the best part is, Joe, like it doesn't cost you anything.
Right.
So it's a cool site. So again, that number that I read off the record, Gary, is right up here in the top corner of the jacket.
Oh, okay.
So again, jacket matches the record, matches the scratched on the black inner ring.
It easy.
And it makes it easy. You go, yep, this is what I'm looking for. So if again, I wish you didn't have to be so careful with collectibles, but
you do.
You do. So if you see something you really like and they're asking a lot of money, with this, like you can download that it's on your phone, it's an app, look it up and go, yep, it all matches. I'll take that. Or yeah, no, that's not the right number.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
right. If I see that, I'm just gonna email that person and say, look, I'm sending this straight to Mark Andrews. He'll take it.
Mark Andrews told me you're trying to screw me.
Right? That's good. Tell them that. And then tell them where I am if they can find me.
They'll never do that. They'll never find you. That's one.
That's right. So my last album, is it a spec? Maybe. It's just kind of neat. And you can find them. And again, they're not a lot of money. But they're just very cool. And they're kind of like this genre of record history. So, and there's lots of these out there of this particular example of them. Like there's lots of these, right?
Right.
Okay. There's lots of Batman and Robin records. This one they call this blues rock music. Now, let me tell you, this is not B.B. King.
Right.
If you are buying these, you buy them because they're cool. You
right.
don't buy them to listen to them, right? So
what great art! Holy cow!
They're very neat. So, and this one actually is a Tifton album. Sorry. Okay, this is a Tifton Batman and Robin, and Damn the Thrill Is Gone. So Peter Pan, right, came out with all kinds of records. And they were trying to figure out where, what was going to sell and what wasn't, and whatnot. And then in 1966, you got Batman is on TV. He's doing great things. People love the show, and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. So the the Synthetic Plastics Company, okay, was going. We should probably figure out how to cash in on this, right? So around the same time, a couple of years before, they had started doing some things like these kind of records, as you can see up behind me, some older ones, but they were like, they were storybooks, there was fairy tales, and with a book and a little LP, and then they changed their name to Peter Pan Records in 1964.
Oh, wow.
1964, they became Peter Pan Records because it's, again, a little more tied into stories. But
it rolls off the tongue a little better.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue better than the Synthetics Plastic Company, which just sounds like that's something that you should probably go take a long shower or not touch.
Right.
So they came out with a series of 4 records, which involves some of these folks. Okay.
Yeah.
And these actually are produced by the Synthetic Plastics Company. And they came out with these.
Oh, cool.
Look at that. Are those EPs or 45s?
These are 45s. And this is how simple these are. These just slide out.
Yeah.
Like they're
no sleeve or anything, huh?
There's no sleeve. There's no nothing. And let me tell you, if you thought that when I was being kind about that's not jazz music, you're not buying this to listen to the music, because it's
right. You're just purely.
If this was in the elevator that you were trapped in, they would find you dead in the elevator. So the music, there's only one song per side. The battiest car around. And here comes the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, they are toe tappers. So
just can't stop, huh?
You can't stop. So there's the Batman with the Batmobile. There's 5 actually. So then there is also Robin. And on the back, the Virgin side without the logo. And this one is There Goes Robin and the Wondrous Boy Wonder.
Really cashing in on the Boy Wonder stuff, huh?
They are. They are. And of course, you have to have the actual Batman, right?
Well, it sounds like they knew their audience. They were selling them to the kids, and the kids were going to beg their parents.
Kids would listen, and also their parents would let them listen to this music.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this music that would make you go, say what?
Yeah, it's not that bad rock and roll music.
Exactly. It's the Batman, and look out for the Batman. Again, not a lot of thought and effort put into the titles. Then there was the Penguin.
Oh, nice.
All right, that's a nice one.
Yeah, and the music on this one is The Penguin and A Penguin Caper. I know you're looking these up already. And then the very last one.
That is like the most jovial Joker I've ever seen.
This is the most jovial Joker, and when you listen to the music, it still is. This one is the Joker.
I just misunderstood.
Exactly. This is the Joker gets trumped, and ho, 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 the Joker's wild. So anyway,
they spent a lot of time trying to come up with those names.
They did. They worked really hard. The writers, I suspect, were burning the midnight oil. Again, it's hopefully you can see that. That's the Synthetic Plastics.
Oh yeah.
But again, they knew all they had to do was sell it to the kids, and their parents would buy it for them.
And they did. And there's, there you go. And them
Now
to
it's amazing those records. They must have just got destroyed with no sleeve or protection on them.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's like, as you could see, like the sleeves themselves are a little beat, right?
Right.
And they're not going to fit into the regular 45 box and case because they're too big. So they got probably beat up. They did do I don't have it. They did do a compilation of all of them in one record later on. So if you ever see this, that's those 5 records just on one LP.
Now, let me say something about the sleeves so people understand. I mean, those sleeves were very important. And if you didn't have a sleeve, if you just turned that sideways, that record will fall down and it'll hit the ground and it'll crack, if it hits the ground the right way. The other thing with the sleeve is a lot of times when you went to the stores, they put the sleeves with the opening of the sleeve where the opening of the cover was. It used to drive me crazy because if you pick that up, the record could still fall out. So you really should have turned it around and put it in the other way, because essentially they were square, so they fit any way you want to put them in, and that way they were secure. So you just brought like a lot of bad memories back to me now, Mark.
Yeah, it does.
Going in the record store and saying, "Why are these sleeves not in correctly?
Why are these not in correctly?" And the very fact that these actually survived, Joe, because you know how fragile these are.
Yeah,
right. And they look fantastic, Mark.
Yeah, they're not warped. They're playable. They're not just a big scratch. So I don't know where these had been, but when I had an opportunity to get all 5 of them, I did. And
nice.
It's kind of like, if you're into these kind of records, they're just changing to Peter Pan. They're finding their way. The music is horrendous. It was just it's kind of cool, and they're out there, but just again, watch to see that, make sure that the record belongs to this.
Yeah,
because people will slide a 45 in here that doesn't, Man,
and when your record got a skip on it, that was like the worst feeling. It was always a song you loved.
Yep. So, so that's my, whether it be a spec or not, I don't know. If you're looking for them, they're fun to add to your collection, and that's my 10+1 for you tonight. Hopefully it was entertaining.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It was excellent. And I only wrote down 4 things, so that's not too bad. Out of 12.
You still need to do that espresso mail call, Joe.
I think you might be onto something, Gary.
Steve's wife would probably be on it for the whole hour.
Right.
And I'll just watch.
Right. Steve White just needs a 24-hour marathon dedicated to that.
That's all. Yeah. Well, Mark, I'm glad you let us into your museum, your basement.
Well, it's my pleasure, Joe. It's fun. I mean, you collect it because you love to collect stuff, but it's also when you get a chance to show some of this stuff off, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about your collection that always amazes me is the stuff that you find that I never even heard of before. I mean, well, thank God you have all those agents out there looking for you, because I think that's the way it would work out.
Oh my God, Gary's duplicating himself.
Well, I had to take over Gary's show for a while because
my computer just said, you know what, we're doing a shutdown. I must have missed like a notification to postpone or something, and so I had to jump on the phone real quick.
Well, you're back, which is good, but we'll stop talking about you now. But
I was just mentioning how one of the interesting things about Mark, and obviously his very large collection, and comic book / record company / figurine / whatever room there that he keeps at 55 degrees so his wife won't go down there. I mean, it's just that he has so many things that I've never seen before and that other people have never seen before. And
it's just extraordinary.
I get lucky, Joe, but I also I don't know how it out and also people know what I see something really bizarre. I think I'm going to ask Mark if he's interested in this. Right.
And those are your agents. Yeah, I know. I wish I had some agents like that.
Like a couple of those records that I show you, my nephew, he's hitting a different flea markets and stuff, and he says, "Hey, you're interested in this?" And it's like, "Yeah, absolutely." Or it's, "No, thanks, but that's not what I'm after." But yeah, I look for stuff that's kind of like a lot of people go, why would you do that? Like it, but then when you accumulate a lot of it, it kind of turns into this really very eclectic.
Well,
cool
what I've
collection.
always appreciated about your collection, Mark, is it has a museum-like quality to it. Like, because, the things you want from when you visit a museum are things you're kind of familiar with but haven't seen before.
Yeah.
Things that are in well enough shape that you can look at them and admire them, and just things that are cool and relevant to certain time periods. And your collection encompasses all that.
So,
Well,
Mark lives up in North Bay, right, Mark? So it's
Yep.
like maybe about about like 5 clicks away from the North Pole or what have you. So one of the things that I always think about with Mark is that his room, I won't call it a comic book room because that's probably insulting, but his room down there is like the fortress of solitude.
Or
Superman goes in there, you see all these things you never saw before, you never knew about, and you're going, oh, wow, look at this. First of all, it's cold, it's just as cold, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, all these things are there that are just, like you said, Gary, museum quality type of stuff. So I always think to myself, the fortress of solitude. I'm getting a glimpse.
Well, you said near the North Pole. I think also, from his former career, he might have dirt on Santa, and he can just get whatever he wants.
I wasn't going down that route, Gary.
Well,
I wasn't going down that route.
Well, NORAD is based here in North Bay, and we do track Santa every Christmas from, the NORAD base here. So,
can't you see him? Santa. It'd be a shame if this were to make public record.
I've been looking for this record or for this comic book or for whatever, but I don't know. It's fun. I have a lot, and thanks very much, Gary, saying it's museum quality. That's because you guys are seeing it over the internet, and you don't see all the cracks and grooves and stuff. But
you see that in things in museum. It's just museum quality because of the time. It's curated. I'm not saying because it's near mint.
Well,
it's just because of what it represents.
I know that at some point someone is going to get this, and that's why it's curated, so that everything, it's like the stuff I print out for these albums, so that when it's time, they know what this is, and here's the inventory and whatnot. And also the good thing is I'm really fortunate. Both my sons love this stuff, and they're engaged in it. And whenever I talk about, maybe I'm going to downsize, they both lose their mind. More so my oldest son is like, what? No, wait. What are you talking about? And like, if you could just see off camera right now, I'm going through a reorg of books, and there's like magazine boxes and short boxes, and it's like, if you saw over there, you'd go, this is not organized at all, but it actually makes sense.
But I think our collections are like that, right? Because people would look at me, how do you find anything? I know where everything is.
Yep.
I don't even have to have a name on the box. I'm like, there it is.
It's right here. And that's, and that's why when I see a smart comment from Chuck, I know where I can grab this.
Oh, goodness. But anyway, Mark, that was great. Like, I mean, I know we like to joke around and pick on each other.
You're a great sport, Mark.
Your stuff is always enjoyable, and it's always amazing to see. And not only that, you always bring, like Joe does when he presents stuff, you always bring information about it with you, which is really a good hook, and what's really gets you involved in learning about it.
Yeah. So, I love you too, Chuck.
So it's just always really nice.
The bromance goes on. The bromance goes on.
The bromance goes on. It's what's the point of collecting something if you don't know some of its history and where it comes from? And for me, that's also the cool factor is, that like those small 45s, that was Peter Pan's first, probably one of their biggest sellers to get them after 1964 to go.
Yep.
Right. And look at what, like most of these are Peter Pan, and look at what they did. Like they became a monster record producer.
It's just amazing because I remember being a kid and seeing all these things and actually having some of them at some point, and my cousin having some.
Yep. And
they're nowhere to be found now.
Yeah. And so if I can find some that are kind of different, like, like this one is 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Right.
I'm sure it wasn't a huge seller, but it's when I found that, I went, I've never seen that before.
I don't know, because it ties in two properties, right? The Jules Verne universe and Johnny Quest.
Yeah. And like, why not? Right. So how can you not have fun doing this?
Now,
Anyway, I always have fun. Thanks for having me, Gary.
The one thing I do have, Mark, is that I did find when I sold my parents' house, I did find my record player from the day.
Oh, nice.
Which was this small box. You opened it up and had you put the record on there. You put the record in there, and it had this little thing you put in the middle.
Yep.
For the 45s, and it took 78s as well.
Oh, nice. Yep.
You know? So I have that downstairs. I don't think it works very well, but I have it. My wife says, "Why did you bring this home?" I said, "I used to play my 45s on this thing when I was a kid."
It's got sentimental value.
It's
what
sentimental value.
Tell you?
And because they were so simple back then, Joe, it's probably repairable.
Well, I think it worked. I'd probably have to try to find a needle for it. I don't know if you could do that or what, I guess,
Yeah, you can get the needles. There's people who sell the needles.
Yeah, sure.
And
I do have two. I have my turntable from when I was in college. I still have that with two huge speakers.
Yep.
That I got from I think it was Lafayette, electronics store. And my wife kept telling me, why do you have these speakers? And I have these small ones. I said, no, but you remember we were dating. You came with me to the Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn, and I bought these. She says, I did? I said, yeah. So this is sentimental value. It reminds me of you.
Good line. Man,
right.
we're lucky.
I can't wait to clip this and send it to her.
I'm just being truthful, Gary.
We'll see you lawyer your way out of that one.
Yeah, lawyer your way out of that one.
Thank you for the birthday wishes, Bobby. Appreciate it.
Oh, that was great. All right. So, of course, we'll go around. Joe, what's coming up for you, sir?
Well, this Friday we're having an espresso mail call, and Steve White will be on. Chuck Henze, who's here, will be on, and Cliff on comics. Cliff is going to be on as well. So when Cliff is around, it's a raucous time. So we'll see how that works out. I didn't put anything out this week because, as some of you guys know, I forgot my computer and it just got here like yesterday. So, but I do have. I had a show that I put on about these folios that I had with signed books, and I did record a number of them. So I'm probably going to bring that out. And a week from Friday, we're going to have a comic book crowd show where we're going to sit down, a few of us, and discuss our feelings about the upcoming 2025 superhero movies, and at least our initial impressions, whether they are or. So that's a week from Friday.
Siskel and Ebert.
Nice. Well, coming up for me on the 6th and 2 more nights, we have Naman on, and he's doing his record show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Naman mostly collects soundtracks. So we're going to see a lot of good movie soundtracks, I believe, on that episode.
That's good. Yeah.
And then next week, we have J2 doing on his second appearance, and he's doing a horror 1011, which will be fun.
Nice.
And then on the 16th, we not on the 23rd, we have Phil coming on, Philtastic coming on to discuss his comic.
Yeah,
and that'll be in the hot seat episode.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So some stuff coming up, and of course, Mark, do you have any appearances coming up anytime soon?
No, I sadly I cannot make the espresso mail call because of some family commitments, and that's why I get to do this, because I meet those family commitments, and I'm just sitting back when somebody's gives me an invite. I try to come.
Just for the record, Mark reached out for this invite on this one.
I might have.
Well, I'm always happy to have like Mark's just one of those regular guests. I could have Mark on every month. I'd be happy as a pig in dirt.
Oh, you get bored pretty quick.
I mean, Mark did have an exclusive contract with Anachronic Comics, and only because I like Gary, I This is the only other show I allow him to be on.
I have a writer on my contract that
He has a Gary B writer.
a Gary B writer.
Right. Yeah, I think speaking of which, Joe, while we're talking about shows we do together, when is the next Anachronic Comic College of Comic Book Knowledge coming up?
Well, here's the story, Gary. I haven't had one in a while, right? And that's because when Comics Curing Cancer came on, we basically give away $50 a month.
Right.
I had my money set aside. And I remember telling Rob, I know last year I gave you a lot of money, but this year I really can't do that. I might do a little. Well, I gave him all my money. So we will have another one. I'm probably going to wait a few months before we start it up again, but we will start it up again as soon as I can, get my dollar and cents act together, and we'll start it up, and we'll reach out to some people to be on the show. Nice.
And get that comic book room finished, right?
Well, that's going to take some time, so I'm going to bring you guys on a tour. Certainly the members will go on a tour, and we'll ask for some suggestions. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm not that great at decorating. That's my wife's area, and she's not touching that room. So
that's why you got to bring Matt Woods over.
Yep.
I said bring Matt Woods down, and say, come on, Matt, come on over. Give you some good Italian food. My wife will cook for you.
Yep. Get Matt and Mark in the room and let them go to town with ideas.
Yeah.
I really like Italian cooking, Joe.
I know you do. And my wife is fantastic.
It's nice because Joe knows how to order Italian cooking.
Yeah.
But guys, obviously always a great time. I was looking forward to hanging out with you two all day. You guys don't disappoint. This was so much fun. Thank you guys very much. Joe, thank you for jumping on the co-host.
Happy to do it.
Mark, thanks for another great show and just a peek at your collection. And pleasure. Guys, look to February because Mark is going to do a Star Trek themed episode. There's going to be toys, maybe records, maybe comics, maybe a phaser set to stun. You don't know.
I'm going to have a sheet of paper this long to be writing down stuff.
Right. His William Shatner Huggy pillow. It's all going to be here. But
and you said we were going to keep that a secret.
Right. Right. Keep it secret. Keep it safe. But thank you to the audience that was here tonight. We appreciate your support, and follow Mark on Instagram for his numerous posts. And of course, Joe's links for his YouTube channel and his Instagram are in the description below. So if you're not following Joe, which I'm sure you are, go give him a follow, go give him a watch. And as we like to end these things, guys, until next time, I gotta find my new brand. No, don't crap out on me now. All right. We're almost there, damn it.
We're almost there. My hand's getting sore.
As we like to end these things, keep it casual.
Yeah.